Union Jackoff. How you doing, jerk-offs? Are you good? Good to see you. I'm a bit nasally today, but I'm joined by double Sarahs. Please welcome Sarah Callaghan.
Hello. Am I looking at all the cameras?
You don't have to look at all of them. Just pick a boy. Mooch will sort you out. Mooch is on the button. And Sarah Bennetto.
Hi, and thanks, Mooch.
Beautiful. Mooch, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit sniffly too. A bit
sniffly too.
Yeah.
There's no camera on Mooch.
No, he can do a little webcam. Little on himself. Yeah. People know what Mooch looks like. Mooch is a heavy hitter.
He knows what webcam's about. He's been there before.
Knows what webcams are about.
She's talking about it's fine. It's fine.
Remember when creeping was like webcam based? Now I'm afraid of my webcam. I'm a bit stressed about like what it sees.
A lot of people have stickers over them. I've seen that in cafes.
Yeah. Do you sticker?
No, I don't sticker, but I stand behind people with stickers and I film them surreptitiously. Just to teach them a lesson. And then I send it to Zuckerberg.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's in trouble, dude. Have you seen that Facebook rebranded as Facebook all caps?
Yeah, what the fuck is all that about?
Look, man, they want to change their image. They're
He's
yelling, we're innocent!
Yeah.
But yeah, that's... is Facebook out? I don't know.
I think it is. Do you know what's so mad? Someone said the other day that Facebook is like not cool anymore. Like the young kids aren't getting Facebook. Apparently there's like there's no more subscribers. Yeah. No one's signing up for it at all. It's just
kids
Instagram, Snapchat.
Aren't on it. In fact, you're markedly younger than me, and I feel like you shouldn't even be on it.
Yeah.
Because people your age have said to me, anyone in their 20s are like, oh no. Like if you make a joke or you reference it, they're like, they'll kind of look at each other and you're like, what? Wait, what? What have I missed? And they're like, mums and dads are on it. That's why we're not on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, kids aren't on it.
We're the boomers, bro. We're on. I think I'm probably like the last vestige of Facebook. I'm the last guy.
Oh my God, we're boomers.
But I use it for sincerity. Is that fair?
It's a bit more real, yeah.
So if I'm
it's
being
Twitter and Instagram
is like
post Edinburgh status.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what everyone uses them for.
It's like, hey, warning, long post. Like that's Facebook.
Yeah, here we go.
Like, if I want to be pippy,
Jenny and I have been
together
for 10 years. Honestly, it's been great. Best of our times. We just want to let our family know that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But one thing that bothers me is like my like comedy like content. The death of art. Anyway, so not that it was art to begin with. I talk about dicks, but anyway, that goes well on Facebook because my stuff goes better on Facebook than like Instagram and Twitter, and that makes me feel very uncool.
Longer videos as well, because obviously Instagram you can only put 50 seconds.
You can go Instagram TV, bro. So you can get a minute on a regular post, or you can go Instagram TV for longer.
Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, guys. Come on.
Do you know how dry comedy is now? This is it, dude. Can you edit? If you
and
can't
like
edit,
Insta
get out
stories
of the stage.
versus Insta photo. I still like the photos, guys. I don't always click on your stories, and I'm friends with you, and I like your stuff. But like, I don't know. I'm like, why do I hold back from the stories?
Do you not story?
I love doing stories.
Once or twice.
About like what are you storying about? If you love the stories,
I put a story up of the dog just a minute ago. Now
Right.
everyone knows my life is going really well.
You're so fast.
Yeah, I know. Well, he tagged me and then I just reposted
I tagged you
it.
both actually.
Yeah.
Just to be like, I was like,
Add
little
it to your
recording
story.
thing.
I didn't even see that.
All
Got
the
no
cool kids are doing
notification.
stories, man.
That's amazing. The one of the only stories I did was at McCuntleth Comedy Festival this year in Wales.
Did you say McCuntleth?
Yeah, because apparently to say it correctly, you have to say that word in the middle.
It's
but
McCuntleth,
it's more
really?
McCuntleth, whatever.
You know any Welsh people?
One of my shows was a treasure hunt stand-up hour, whatever, convoluted but fun thing. But I literally had a treasure hunt that was built into the show that ran after the show around the town of Mac. Let's just say Mac.
Mac.
It's easier.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I did an Insta story of that, and then like I hid in a graveyard where the final prize was hidden, and I watched people like coming up. Am I describing myself as a creep through this podcast?
I mean,
I
quite
film
like
people in cafes. I film people in graveyards. Is that creepy? Is it creepy?
I mean,
Shouldn't be thing, it is. It's just a new angle.
No,
Yeah.
but that's the new movement. You can't just take photos because remember that was the best thing about camera phones. You just go to people in public transport doing something weird and be like, fucking snap you and tell everybody. And now people are like, you can't do that, man. It's just a person living their life. And I'm like, yeah, but they're living it weird.
They're wearing Crocs. They have to be fucking.
Dude, why do all chefs wear Crocs all the time?
That is true. They
It's
do do that.
because your feet expand in the heat, innit? So it's a nice loose shoe.
What she's done there.
What the fuck is that? What
She's
is
given
this?
us an actual correct answer there.
Yeah, and it
I
was
like
succinct. Mooch, can you seem like you've met a chef? You got that vibe. You're in the game.
He does. Friend of chef.
Exactly.
Friend of chef, what, fat?
No, not fat.
No.
That wasn't a fat joke. You look great. You're powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't check. I don't photograph chef feet.
Chef feet.
I'm happy with her answer.
I mean, so am I, but it sounded so logical, and I hate that. I don't like when things are just like perfectly explained.
What happens with spillages and knives? Can they get through the holes?
Yeah, probably.
You'd have to think so.
So you think they should be wearing steel cap boots sort of thing, or?
Oh, that's gonna be hot, man.
That's gonna be hot.
You know, like why are hipsters kind of taking that now? Have you noticed that's like the new hipster thing, like kind of like work
Steel
boots,
cap boots,
work
really?
boots.
Yeah, docs. I reckon
DMs.
docs on the cusp are coming back hardcore because they're back a bit now, but they're going to be.
Oh yeah.
I was there for the first docs wave. Oh, maybe not the first. I'm not like. How long have they been around? Anyway, let's say the '90s, the '90s wave.
I would say like I was here for the first Levi's. Remember during the gold rush? That was me, dude.
San Francisco.
I was panning, had my
and you
dungarees.
still wore this, and you still look like that.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
I was on the first Adidas, you know.
That's actually how you paid for that vintage Adidas. Was
That's
you panned for gold, and you spent it all on sweet tracksuits.
This isn't vintage, mate. This has just been worn a lot by me.
Is that the only one?
It's the only one.
Oh fuck! I thought maybe you got a couple of the same.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Everyone thinks that, and no.
I'm gonna buy you one because I care for you, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. I would like another one. This one's getting a bit gross.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been wearing this jacket like every day for 2 years. It needs to go. My friend said to me the other day, she was just like, I think it's time for a new jacket. I'm like,
but isn't it nice to have a uniform?
No,
though?
I like it. It's a cool jacket.
I mean, it's alright because it's thin in it, but I do need a new jacket.
I just like just every it's like I've got comedy tonight. I'm putting on the tracksuit. I just don't have to think.
That's what it is.
To be fair, like I love tracksuits, and when I'm not doing comedy, I do wear tracksuits. But I would never, ever step foot on stage in a tracksuit.
Fucking
Wow.
why, mate?
Because it's like it's loungewear. It's for at home or the gym, innit? Like you don't like you have to put
loungewear?
Yeah, you have to put jeans on, innit?
You don't. I've proven it.
Who else wears tracksuit bottoms?
Me
when
and
they
Jeff
do?
Innocent do.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff can get away with it.
If you don't know, legend of the UK comedy
I'm
scene.
trying to think. Yeah, I don't think there is anyone else.
No,
But it's good to have a unique thing.
actually in Australia they're kind of picking up weirdly.
Oh, they're copying you. You
I-
can't
you're
go back.
setting the
You're their
trend.
Look, I
maybe you
think
should
so.
go back. You're their messiah.
Yeah. But in
Let it
Australia-
be told that before this podcast, I have been berating Daniel Muggleton about going back to Australia. I know that they need you there, but we also love you here, and your star is on the ascent. You can't leave now, man.
It's
You're
true.
huge.
I think it's silly leaving now, but
I can
Yeah.
almost afford a second tracksuit. I'm almost there.
Almost.
I've been speaking to a couple of banks. They're willing to pitch in. But no, it'll be the one thing about going back. I'm concerned about not being able to wear the track pants on stage every day because it's too fucking hot.
True.
It's gonna ruin my brand. I have to wear shorts. I've already thought about this. Shorts,
cut-
long socks.
why don't you just cut them in half?
Cut off.
Can't you get the ones with
freaking
poppers and
tracksuit.
just like?
Yeah.
Oh,
Adidas.
poppers.
I would love that. Are they called poppers? Is that?
I assume
Well,
so.
yeah.
I'm not.
It's a very 90s look, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and you can
Google
wear
poppers.
Crocs as well.
Well,
so
yeah,
your feet
poppers.
don't
I was
expand.
like, that's Amel, isn't it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'd know. Just someone
I mean,
told me.
Oh, that popper.
Your mum told me. He didn't hear,
Well, I
but
think
he'll hear that in
Amel,
the edit.
Amel is like leather cleaner, which would make sense given you were there for the first wave of docs. So
Yeah, that's
it
true.
only makes
Yeah,
sense
yeah.
that
Cool,
you know.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but going back, you're an Australian lady and you've left for a
Sure.
long time.
Yep.
How long? I've been curious about how long.
It's like 17 or 18 years. I
Wow.
know that it was June because I stepped off that plane and I won a competition on a forum, like very early
A
days of
forum?
the internet. Yeah.
What? We're talking about Facebook being old.
Of
A
Cure
forum.
fans. Of the band The Cure. They're my favourite band of
The
all
Cure,
time. And I'd
yeah.
seen them a couple of times in Australia, different cities. And I'd won a competition off some guy in Sweden who was like, my girlfriend can't come. I'm flying over to London. They're playing at Hyde Park on this date, the day after I landed. I'd never been on a plane before, guys.
Oh my God.
And I was
What?
moving country for good. Who would do that? Young me would do that. So I get off the plane and I have to meet the guy the day after I've landed. I get my stuff to my friend's house, lock it up. So the next day I go down to Hyde Park and it's gorgeous and sunny. I remember it being sunny going, London's hot. That's a thing.
Yeah.
And then I go to the entrance of Hyde Park where this Swedish guy's like, meet me there. Now, you've lived in London, right? We get this. The entrance of Hyde Park. I'm like, cool. So I just get off at Hyde Park Tube. Not really a thing. Hyde Park Corner, Green
Hyde
Park.
Park
There's
Corner,
100
yeah.
tubes there.
Archway.
Yeah, so I just go to a gate.
A gate.
And I'm like, there's
Oh shit.
so many people that I'm like, what's that over there? That's another gate. Yeah, man, it was a real steep learning curve. And so I walk all around Hyde Park all day.
Oh my god.
I can't get in. I hear all the support bands, Mogwai, loads of great bands leading up to it. Then I find the entrance where like one of the entrances where they're ripping tickets and letting people in.
Yeah.
And I explained my story, and the staff just laughed and laughed at me because there's no phone, like mobile phones. Yeah, it was a thing, but I didn't have it. I was fresh off the
flip
boat.
phone? Or
Yeah,
was
but
this
I
pre-flip?
didn't. No, for some reason we didn't have each other's number. It was all very
Oh my God.
forum based. So
Forum-based.
Yeah, and so
Run to
they
an
just
internet
laughed
cafe
at me.
and be like, hey man, which entrance are you at? And then
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
man.
they just laughed at me, and I was like, I literally landed here yesterday. I've never been on a plane. It's pretty rad. You know, they give you lunch on the plane, and they were like, shit, man. So, long story short, after standing there for like 45 minutes talking to them, and like right up to the point where the main band, my favorite band of all time, The Cure, were about to go on, they just went, just have it, just go in. And they gave me, there was like
Sick.
a VIP guy that came in and had too many tickets, a lanyardy type fancy thing. They were like, give us that spare one, and they let me in. So I got
Oh
to go.
my
wow,
God.
that
For
is
free.
that is incredible
banging.
false advertising for London as a place.
Hot, generosity,
Yeah.
free gigs.
Just
Everything's
friendly.
cheap or
Just
free.
lucky, man.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's great though. I like when people do that because you can. I've worked the door at a festival and it's just like, just
It's
What
the
does
ones
it
that like
matter?
Jobsworth. It's like, why are you being like this? Like when
Yeah.
they're horrible for no reason.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I-
And I love that term, jobs worth. That was new to me when I moved here, and I understand it.
Wait,
wholeheartedly
yeah,
now.
fuck, I don't. What jobs worth?
He's a-
Yeah, if
Johnny's a real
someone's
Jobsworth,
being like
yeah.
super cunty for no reason, like security guards or
Rules are rules.
you're just like, you're such a Jobsworth, man.
Yeah, it means like,
Jobs
yeah,
worth.
well, I don't make the rules. You know,
Yeah.
that's, I've got the badge, jobs worth.
Power hungry. Or
I
whatever.
like that. That's a good term.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I can't believe you never heard that.
No.
Yeah, that's a pretty common one, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good that you're learning it now just before you go back to Australia.
I mean, I've got to be able to tell them that I've lived here, guys, I learnt that language. I picked it up. Picked up the slang. But no, I'll be back. People, all right, I'm going to put this out there. I don't think Australia is that far away anymore.
Okay.
Like, flights aren't that expensive. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone's kind of closer now. I really
Definitely,
get that.
for sure. Then our grandparents' generation.
What airline are you flying with? What do you mean they're not expensive flights?
Mate,
Well, think about like our grannies or great grannies or great.
Yeah.
They could not.
Yeah,
It
well,
wasn't.
obviously flying was only meant for like rich people in it, and then
Yeah.
it's available to us, but it's available to us in the thing that you could get a £20 flight to fucking Spain or something.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to Australia or America is still expensive, like.
But
like,
it's possible.
Yeah, yeah, it's doable
Yeah.
for sure.
But it's like, if you think about your rent
Mm.
versus like a flight, and then like you save all that and you come out here, like it's really like what? I think return to Australia is, if you book it like off peak time, it's kind of like 600, 700
Yeah,
quid.
you can get it 600-700. Yeah.
That's not that much money.
I got
Like-
a cheap flight to Australia because for Christmas, to include Christmas, New Year's Eve, which is normally the peak price.
Yeah,
it can go
yeah,
up
yeah.
to like 2-3 grand, which is
Wow.
abhorrent.
Yeah,
It's
you guys
almost like
just-
they know that we want to fly then, and they're just going to treble it.
Yeah,
But I managed to get it down to 802 with
802.
Qantas, the best airline, at a decent time of the day because I'm flying on actual Christmas Eve at lunchtime.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose Christmas. Well, not, but I'll have it on a plane. But then they pull
What
out all
the
these.
fuck?
They actually give you presents. I've done it before.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Thank you, Qantas. But it's like Prosecco. I've done it on New Year's Eve as well. Because it's like, if you look at prices going
Yeah.
out to Australia for long hauls, there's like peak and off peak or whatever, and then it just drops on that day. And on New Year's Eve, if you fly then too, it drops. And it's like, if you're that despo, and I am, you'll just do it. Or you're not as
Yeah.
romantic about Christmas.
Yeah,
like,
if
I
you're
don't
not bothered,
care.
then that's fine.
So I'm
yeah.
just going to fly then, and it's
Sick.
like
Yeah.
pretty good. And I'm
Hell
going to get
yeah.
there 8 p.m. I'm making my sisters keep my niece and nephew up till 8, so I can be like, yeah.
What presents do they give you?
Always something good. But I've already started buying. Because they're amazing. Little kids are awesome to buy for.
Are you going to give them the presents from the plane? Like, just put those in there, be like, hey,
yeah.
got you
Or like
something little
Qantas
special.
socks,
Yeah.
miniature Tim Tams.
Just like, look, I'm actually the pilot, so I got these socks for you from Qantas. Kids are dumb, dude. Just lie.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
lie. I was
Yeah.
with like my fiance's niece, and like I've never really hung out with kids because like they don't get sarcasm, so fuck them. Like, like my entire personality is based on irony and sarcasm, and kids just don't get
Yeah.
it. So like
Little pricks.
I'm not funny to them, which really bothers me. Like they want.
Oh,
they want
I
you to
think
be,
my
like,
niece
big.
would really like you because she kind of likes people that are hard to crack, like very
Mm.
serious men. She's like looking at him like,
How old's
what's
his
he up to?
niece?
She's like nearly 5.
Nearly 5, and she likes serious men.
Well, you know what I mean, like, or people that are a little bit like, I'm not changing my personality for you, because I think when people walk into a room, the same applies for like animals, kids and animals. If you go in too strong, you want it too much.
Yeah.
They're like, what? wearing, right? Oh, aren't you cute?
Yeah,
It should
I hate
be.
that,
Back
man.
off.
That's so
A dog,
cringe.
a cat, they just like back off. Kids are like that too. If you walk in your Muggleton, you're like, what? They're like, interesting.
It's no threat. You're no threat.
I'm no threat. Come on, man. My entire appearance is a threat for a child. Like, come on.
How is it? You look like fucking
I'm
Santa
like,
Claus,
I'm
man.
like the van driver. It's like, don't listen to him. Whatever he promises you. Dude, you get that because you hang out with kids one-on-one and they see me and they're like, that kid does not look like enough like him for him to be a
that kid's got a
parent.
beard.
Yeah. Oh man, it is scary. But wait, so you came here 17 years ago. Let's get 17, 18.
How old
17,
were you
18,
when you first came in?
like in my early 20s.
Wow.
And I'd done like a couple of years of stand-up in Melbourne and like 1 or 2 gigs in Sydney, 1 or 2 gigs in Canberra, 1 or 2 in country towns, and that's it.
Wow.
Like I'd work my
then-
way up to middle bracket, like, well, that's a comedy
Yeah,
term,
sure.
but yeah, like in Australia, so I've done a
just
little bit of
starting to get
radio. Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
starting to get paid, sold a bit of this to, different radio stations, this or that. And then I decided, throw it away, start again at ground zero. And so
Yeah.
I moved over here and I started the open mic circuit, but I made so many great friends and it was like really interesting exercise. And I think also because you hit the ground running when you're 5-minute set, when your 5 is good because you've developed it somewhere else, or your 10 is good.
Yeah.
People don't expect you to be good. You can like reinvent yourself.
Well, that was one of the fun things because I knew Sarah from Australia when I moved here. So I would text her being like, I'm at this open mic. Everyone here's a fucking lunatic. And she'd be like, yeah, why didn't you ask? I would have said never go there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is-
yeah,
this
yeah,
is where
yeah.
the crazies hang out. Because
Yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. People like romanticize like the kind of open mic comedy. I like seeing it occasionally just to be like, isn't this
No,
crazy that the
yeah.
same crazy people
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
everywhere?
Very humbling experience.
But
Yeah.
they're like the same though. Like in
Yeah.
Australia, you
It's
go to
true.
in America, in the
Oh,
UK.
there's a
But I
Great.
didn't see any shit. I think I went to one like proper, like I would say dodgy open mic in Australia. But I said it was you or another Aussie where I said, "Oh, you don't get any like weirdos on the open mic," and they burst out laughing like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just doing the good gigs over here."
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
"Fuck."
I've had that here because like people have been like, "What about this lunatic?" And I'm like, "Man, I never got the honor."
Yeah,
That's
The
the
guy
guy
that used to just
threw
talk about
peanuts at the crowd.
pigeons. Yeah. Have you heard about
Smart.
pigeons, guy?
No, who's
This lady
Pigeons
used to
guy?
pull a kipper out from like a plastic fish out of her plastic nurse's uniform. I'm not going to name her. There was a Sydney comic. Like I think I did one Sydney gig.
Yeah.
And me and the bunch of Melbourne comics who'd gone up for this gig still occasionally text each other about this one guy. I can't name him
Why
because
not?
his name is
him.
part of his
Name him.
punchline. It was so bad.
Name's part of his.
It was so
punchline,
bad. It was
okay.
good. He
Is he
was like
still
a
around?
character.
He's not still around.
Is he still around? I don't know.
He
But
can't
maybe
be.
he Googles himself.
Fuck.
But he
Please
wore a
name
long
him.
trench. And he was like
name him. You gotta name him.
basically he was basically like an incel, and he wore like a
Right.
long trench, like long greasy hair, kind of like
But like back in the day, that could just been like a Matrix fan.
Yep.
You know,
yeah,
like-
maybe. But he would talk about like really dark stuff.
Shit.
Not a lot in the way of jokes, just dark. You button pressy guy, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like I'm saying it,
Shock
I'm not
value.
afraid.
Everyone's got that guy.
Yeah.
Every
And
scene's got that guy.
He,
Yeah.
he used to say, "No, I can't do it. That's mean." Is that what we
Why?
do on this podcast?
He's not gonna listen to this podcast. You can
Someone's
say
going to
what
find
you
him and
wanna.
tell him, and then he's going to come for me. Look,
he in
what I'm
Australia?
saying, like, give me which barrel can I talk down?
Middle barrel.
Okay, listen, dude. If somehow future you finds this, know that I'm saying that actually your legend, it lives on. It lives on, and I haven't even seen you do comedy in years, and yet somehow, like maybe your act was character, in which case, genius, honestly genius. So here's what he did. I'm going to say it now.
Yeah, go on.
Do it.
So, he called himself the Dark Side. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Oh my God, you are from Sydney. Okay, I'm probably safe.
The
But
dark
maybe.
side.
So he would go, he would do material and it wouldn't be going anywhere, and he'd blame the audience, which is, ugh, I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
And
No,
audiences
but
hate it.
They're wrong though.
So
I'm funny.
Yeah, that's it, right? So he'd do this, and then he'd be like, yeah, so I raped a puppy. And the audience would be
Right.
like, oh, Jesus Christ,
Strong-
mate.
This is funny.
And that's it. That was the reaction. And then you go, what's your problem? Too dark for you? That's why they call me, pause, the Dark Side. And I was there with a bunch of Melbourne comics. So there was
I quite like it.
Michael Chamberlain, Charlie Pickering, Terry Siakis, a bunch of my buddies, and I had gone up and we'd been put on this bill, and he was the compere, and we were like
God.
crying.
He's the compere?
And we still talk about the dark side.
Wow.
Every now and
Oh,
then
gotta.
I'll see one of them and they'll be like, "Do you remember The dark side.
That's just like a good get out though. If any joke doesn't work, you can just say that punchline.
That's what they call me. Yeah, so it's all like, oh yeah, cancer. I said it. Yeah. Too dark for you? That's why they call me. You guys can say it.
The dark side.
Listen, dude, please don't kill me. I'm sure you have a great job in some other industry now. Or what if that was such a good character? He's now just a different straight stand-up and we don't recognise him.
Well, that's the thing when comics are so bad. Like, you don't know if they're a character or not. Like, everyone used to say about Dangerous T, they're like, he must be more intelligent than all this. And I'm just like...
Or that's him straight down the line.
Yeah, I'm in two minds. Like, that
Who's
could legit...
Dangerous T?
Are you Are you for real?
Yeah.
What is this? This is like...
So the costume, talk him through it.
This is like... What, London open mic history? Is this?
Dangerous T, he's like oldest black guy, that guy, and walks with a cane. And I remember, I haven't gigged with him for years, but when I first started, like, he's still in the open mic, he used to overrun massively, and he did this whole bit about, like, there's no jokes, it's just talking, right?
Yeah.
This whole thing about toilet roll.
Okay.
And he was like, so I went to the toilet, and I said, and he talks about himself in the third person, he's like, oh, dangerous, there's no toilet roll. Oh, and then I walked out, yeah, like literally, and he would just go on, and you're just there like, what the fuck, man? And he's just been on the open mic circuit for...
He's still around?
Forever, yeah.
I like it when they don't go away. I like that.
But sometimes he pops up on people's statuses on Facebook, like someone will write something and then he'll just come in with like a proper like cutting comment. You're like, oh yes. Like he's still there like watching everyone.
Thank God. Good to know.
Do you used to gig with him as well?
Yeah, and also I'm thinking of someone else who used to wear like loads of bling. He was a character. Loads of
Mr.
like...
T.
Oh, it was
That's
Mr.
Mr.
T. Yeah. And he'd be like, I ain't getting on no plane full. Yeah. Oh man, but the characters are stand-up. That's really interesting. It is a universal thing. Bonkers people on the open mic circuit.
Absolutely. Because if you think about it, like, what better place for them to go? Like, people have to listen to them for the first time.
There was a bald guy that I used to know, and he always used to wear like this weird jacket, and he had all these different props and shit. And like, I saw him at the Gong Show. This is when I first started, and he like crawled up to the stage on hands and knees. He was getting booed before he got there.
Amazing.
And then he got there, and his first joke was he got this tiny little thing of salt out, and he went, and he was like, sex assault. And he was like that, and he was like shaking the thing, and everyone, and literally just like bang, like three red things went out. It's like off the stage.
My favourite thing at the Gong Show
all night to do that.
Yeah, an early red card out.
It's so bad. Yeah.
The one story I've heard from the Gong is this guy coming. It was like in London. He's like, yeah. So I drove down from Glasgow to do this. Gong. Sucked in. That's so funny. Just like literally, that's all he said, and everyone was like, "Get out!" Like,
so good,
pussy hole.
Yeah. Oh man. But like, what? Australia doesn't do gongs. We never gong. We're not. Oh, there was Red Faces, which was on the TV gong.
That's the one I went to Canberra for. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's Green Faces.
No, Green Faces.
Yeah, Red Faces was Red Simons. Where
that's
I'm
true.
like, hey, it's Saturday. But like,
is it meant? Because like the one in Comedy Store is like it's meant to. They don't want people to do well, do they?
Well, it's just, I think here you have this,
brutal.
this
It's
weird
like
fascination
comedy.
with gongs. Like, I don't know why the British people like to see this failure.
That's
so
what
vividly.
we do.
Because they're
That's what we love.
Yeah.
Have you not read the papers? That's just what we do. We build people up and then we laugh when we tear them down.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's true. It's
Is
true.
that
Like
your
football
thing?
chants. Yeah, it's all built on Schadenfreude. Just like pleasure in other people's misery, really.
Yeah.
We're miserable.
Because it
and
makes
we
them
love to
feel
see
better
other
about their
people-
shitty lives. That's
Yes.
why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that you guys are just so in agreement about this.
We're not saying it's right, but it's
This is kind of
the
a
way.
weird
it's
ritual.
right.
No,
It's
British
right.
people are cunts, you know what I mean?
Which is like, it's right. It's actually right. Yeah.
It's
But
bullying.
I think you guys are kind of nice though. Like I definitely think they're friendlier than Australian people.
Are you mad?
I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. I don't know about that.
I just think like kind of on the street, in the pub, kind of there's more, hey, how you going?
No, here's what it is. You think they're friendlier. It's just because you go in, your Australian level friendliness, and people respond so well to that because they've not been talked to all day because they're British, and they're like, oh my God, who is this lovely man in the
different
tracksuit?
accent, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
you're like, people take to you. But if
Okay.
you like sit there and just watch British people, they fucking hate each other.
Just
They hate their
unnecessary
lives.
rudeness. Like,
one of my favourite things I ever saw was that was very embodied the Britishness to me, was I did a gig in Manchester, and afterwards I was walking to the hotel and I went under this like railway bridge, and it was like a rainy, dark night, and I was like, oh, is this safe? And I went under, and there was all this beautiful old tile work, and then just like slime and stuff coming down and dripping. It was kind of like beautiful yet decaying, and someone had taken...
that's a great UK image. Beautiful yet decaying.
Yeah, beautiful yet decaying.
The decay is strong.
Come. And someone had taken like a red spray can thing and written in all caps on these beautiful tiles, I hate my job. It's like, it wasn't like gang stuff, it wasn't like tags, it was I hate my job. And they had the wherewithal, the forethought to go out and buy a spray can, find a bridge, and they still wouldn't do anything about like... But rather than say something to HR...
Rather than quit the job.
Or go home and punch their wife, you know what I mean?
It was
like, no, I'm just going to spray it on a wall.
Sweet, so bottled up.
You know? I quite like that.
I think the graffiti's better than punching the wife, to be honest. If we're looking for alternatives, to take it out. But I think that's like an analog Facebook status, you know? It's just like, people need to hear this. I want to tell people.
I know.
Bang.
And it really spoke to me, because I was like, we've all been that guy.
It really resonated with me. Like.
Absolutely. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
I don't think you guys are as into misery as you like to believe. I don't. You have to get the Germans to get a fucking word for it. You know, like clearly you're not that passionate about it. I don't think so. I think you're kind of nice, and I think you like to play that you're not. Or maybe I've been suckered in. Maybe
the thing is, you reflect what you are. So what Sarah was saying in terms of like, if you are friendly and open and nice to people, then most of the time you do get that back. I think British people to other British people are miserable, and then obviously it just bang. You know what I mean? They bump heads.
It breaks down.
So that's why your opinion, your view of it is different.
Right.
Because you're adorable, Daniel Muggleton.
Thank you. Maybe that's why like people aren't nice to me in Australia. It's like, no, fucking Australian piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like on the train today, I was thinking about this, and it's a constant thought on public transport here, where I'm like, this is amazing. And it sounds like a diss, but honestly, I think it's a superior way of doing business. People don't talk to each other on the train. Like, not in the way that they do on trams or trains or whatever in Australia, or buses. It's just constant, the chat in Australia. Shops, all that. Like, how you going? I like your tracksuit. How you going?
Yeah.
Strangers. Just like
strangers.
you get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah. Where'd you get your cardigan? That's lovely. Topshop. We don't have Topshop here. All this stuff.
Wow.
But I was thinking this on the fancy ginger tube on the way to where we're recording this
Overground.
podcast. Yep, love it.
Tube.
Yeah, the orange one. And I was sitting there just looking around going, this is such a nice experience. There's people reading books. There's people being... And I kind of prefer it. Like, I go back home now and I'm like, stop it. I just want some peace, man. Everyone's got an opinion on you and what you look like and what you're doing. Like, that's lovely. And we went to Maya. Was this sale on today? What are you doing?
You're absolutely right. The opinion thing is the most annoying fucking, like, Australian thing is like a bit of a sticky beak, like, all the time. Like, I think it's because we got, like, the backyard kind of fence vibe, you know, like what's going on over there? They got a table? Why don't we have a table?
If you're talking with a friend, some drunk guys will absolutely join in. Absolutely.
Get involved.
Yeah, but like, oh yeah, you went out there tonight, did you? Yeah, we went. Oh, I like your thing. Oh, what'd you drink? Oh yeah, and you're like, shh.
Well, I had like the most involved interaction I've had with a stranger on a train last Thursday, because I almost choked to death on a chip on this train from Sheffield to Doncaster.
Did they have to Heimlich you?
You're not supposed to Heimlich anymore.
Why?
No Heimlich. Heimlich's out. You just do the pat on the back, but up. You hit up. But no.
High five to the back.
Yeah, high five to the back, exactly, with the little raise, little bring up.
Okay.
But yeah, because like, I don't know. The one thing I will say that I'll miss about the UK is just like knowing there's no other good food available, so just resorting to the orange polystyrene takeout container. Whatever's in it tastes the same. Like, there's no variation based on, like, the texture's the same, the taste is the same. It's just like, what colors would you like to see in the container? And there's always like 7 sauces and they all suck. Like, there's never like a good...
Chicken salt.
No, oh my
Where's
God.
chicken salt? Has anyone brought that up on this podcast before?
I don't know, actually. I bought some for our house. I bought some for our house. It was just like,
aren't we losers? I'm veggie, but it's generally veggie.
Salt?
Oh my God, Sarah, it's going to change your freaking life.
Yeah.
It's standard in all Chippies, in all KFCs, in all Maccas.
Yeah.
Not Macca's. No, Macca's goes regular salt.
So it just tastes like chicken?
Only KFC. It tastes like chicken. It makes
it's
anything
like a
taste
seasoned
like chicken.
salt, but it's actually like an oniony, garlicky powder, salty.
Yeah, they invented it in like rural
Victoria. And you sprinkle it over your chips. It's so much better. It makes everything incredible. Plus, I add ketchup like a maverick. I do both.
Yeah, both is fine.
Yeah.
I totally accept both.
Is that just an Aussie thing?
Yeah.
And we are
Australia.
shocked when we move here. Every Aussie is like, I don't do chicken salt. Like in a standard chippy,
Fucking
you walk
hell.
up and you're like, yeah, whatever, £1 chips, £2 chips, and sauces. Yep, cool. And where's the no?
No. Where's the chicken salt? Can I have some
Shit.
chicken salt, please? KFC. Why doesn't KFC do it? That's why.
Don't know why some things aren't universal. I remember I went to New York. I went to Subway and they didn't have sweet corn. I'm like, are you fucking mad?
I mean,
Yeah, sweet corn's one of the
Like,
best,
come
man.
on, and it's like in
But
a
you guys
sandwich.
get sweet corn
like-
on your Subway?
Pardon?
You guys get sweet corn?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I've never been sad at a lack of sweet corn. Never been like, oh man, I need this sweet corn from the Subway. Drained out the tin. That's what I want.
It's
no.
good. Even out of the tin. It's
I
the
think
bomb.
actually, I think when I was in Poland, they don't do meatball subs in Poland, and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Meatball is the
dumb.
sub.
And you would feel like Poland is good at like stodgy, hearty food like meatballs.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You
I
like
don't
a
know.
stew.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they're like, look, we get our meatballs elsewhere.
Well, they got weird meats as well, didn't they?
They got weird meats in Poland.
I think so, isn't it? They got their own food, didn't they?
Well, they got pierogi.
What's
I know
that?
Oh my
that's
God,
the-
I
What is
love
that?
those. They're
Dumpling
dumplings.
thing.
You'd love them.
Ah.
Everyone loves a dumpling.
Yeah.
So good. You can have boiled or fried.
Yeah. When are we going to admit as a world that a lot of the foods are just the same thing named differently?
Yeah.
It's like chicken katsu, chicken schnitzel, Milanese chicken, all the same.
Yeah.
Chicken escalope,
Oh, yeah.
escalope,
Scallop.
How do you-
Yep. Parmigiana.
Yeah,
your parmas.
all the same.
That's also not a thing in the UK, is it?
No,
Parmas.
but
Yeah.
you get parmos up in Yorkshire.
Yes,
I have covered
but
this.
they're not quite.
No, because they're
quite the same.
bechamel sauce instead of tomato sauce, and it makes
Ours are
it,
cheap and nasty pub food, but it's good comfort food.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the best. I
Again,
miss
I'm
I know
it.
you're
veggie. I have the
feeling it.
eggplant version. Sorry,
Yeah.
aubergine.
Aubergine.
Eggplant.
Yeah, eggplant.
Yeah, that's what we
How
call
dare
it.
you? How dare you laugh at us eggplant? Aubergine. Why? Why do we call it eggplant? Do Americans call it eggplant?
Yeah.
Okay,
And,
that's what we got it
then
from.
your courgettes and your zucchinis,
Yeah, we say zucchini. You say courgette.
What do you call peppers again?
capsicum.
Capsicum. Random. That is such a random fucking word. Where does it come from? Why?
I mean, I assume...
That one's not
actually-
American because they're bell peppers.
Yeah.
Sweet peppers.
Why do we call them capsicum? Capsicum seems like the more European word for it than peppers.
Weird, isn't it? We are a weird bunch, an amalgam of many other places.
Yeah, I think it's because we got the different group coming in, and then whatever they called the thing, we're just like, yeah, fuck it, we'll stick with that.
Yeah,
and then just
sounds
carry
good.
it on. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
uniform.
Yeah.
Because you guys are very serious about it. And that the passata. Like why?
Like
why
a
do you-
Napoli
that?
sauce, passata.
Yeah, passata. Like that's the kind of tomato paste is like passata. Like you just take in these little Italian words for no reason. You jerk.
Also, subtle pronunciation differences where I've been mocked a lot for my pronunciation of yogurt.
Yogurt.
Yeah. See,
Sarah just
and how
laughing.
do you say it?
Yogurt. The right way.
Yogurt,
The right
yogurt.
way.
Yeah, and also
Yogurt,
pasta. See, yeah. Pasta.
Pasta
Who's right? Italians. Who's right?
Yeah, that's
We'll do an example. Here we
It's
go.
gotta be pasta. That's
I'm going to have a
Yeah.
lovely bowl of pasta.
I'm going to have a delicious bowl of pasta.
Right, Italians, tweet in at whatever.
At
this
the-
is.
They
Jack
are
off.
100% going to say
Put in, 'cause we'll be able
pasta,
to
but just with an
split
accent, innit?
Mi chiamo, come stai? Mi chiamo Sarah. Yeah, that's not mi chiamo. I just said, I am. How are you?
Mickey Amo, Sarah.
When I was at university, there was a Vietnamese exchange student who I later became friends with. And the first night I met her, I walked in, she was brushing her teeth in the communal bathrooms. And she looked really nervous. And it was like that thing when I speak foreign languages, like if I'm in France or Italy or something, I'm like, shit, how do I say hi and hello again? And I say it and I might stuff it up. She looked at me, I looked at her and I went, hi. And she went, how high are you? What she meant to say is, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm at uni, pretty high.
Wait,
Oh,
so have
that's
you
good.
guys done some European gigs over here? Have you
Yeah.
gone around?
Yeah, I've been to a few places.
Can I-
Yeah.
Wow.
You've probably been to more than me.
Bucharest. No, I reckon, who knows, maybe the same. Let's
Maybe
go
the same.
together. Sarah's everywhere.
That's it. Sarah's
Sarah's
taken
on
over.
tour.
Well, I was good. Yeah, we were saying this on the way here. I reckon Sarah's the most common comedy name in the UK. I reckon.
Yeah, I'd say
More
so.
Sarahs than anyone else.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Should
I
we
don't
reel
know.
them off? Should we have some fun here? Sarah Bennetto, Sarah Callaghan,
Sarah Pascoe,
Sarah Kendall,
Sarah
Sarah
Milliken.
Keyworth,
Sarah
Sarah
Milliken.
Milliken, Sarah Barron, Sarah Silverman.
Sarah.
Struggling here. Oh dear.
No, there'll be one more.
There's more. Let's Google it.
Let's Google it. I mean,
Sarah,
that just.
Sarah Kendall?
You already said Sarah Kendall.
Dang.
It's all right. We got the Google on because I was gonna say I think this is like the most common comedy names, Daniel and Sarah. I think that's probably maybe like Michael for a dude. I don't know.
Yeah, James,
I think-
John.
I think James is probably, that's the most common name,
David
I think.
is a biggie.
David. There's not many Davids. Get out of here.
Dave.
Davo. Yeah, no. Davo.
Daniel, I guess.
Daniel, Danny, Dan. I reckon that's probably the max. I reckon. I'd have to say it's the max.
Rebel.
Rebel Wilson. Oh God. I was gonna say, just like comedy on the road. I've been curious about this because I did those European gigs and like they're pretty fast and loose with the old organization. They're kind of like, this is where you're staying, this is where the gig is. Here's your plane ticket. Good luck.
Yeah.
And you just kind of turn up.
And they always, it's always Ryanair. No, I'm not doing it. I've literally said that to promoters. I will not do it.
EasyJet.
I got myself on, I'm not doing it. I'm like, you get me on BA or I'm not doing it. If I don't get Qantas One World points,
Really?
I'm not doing the gig.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Oh, no, because how many times does Ryanair delay or cancel? And that really does jeopardize their gig. So I'm like, just let's not mess about.
Yeah.
And the other thing they do is dumb o'clock from Stansted. I'm not doing it.
Right. Stansted sucks.
There's none. There's no others.
No others? That was the max?
Oh, we listed all the
You
Sarahs.
got all the Sarahs.
Yeah.
So actually, I mean, there's a few, but it's not a lot.
I reckon there's a lot. Like, if you think about it, there's not that many comedians, you know? Like,
Oh,
really.
wait, Sarah Campbell?
Fucking loads.
Sarah Campbell?
Oh, yes.
Yep. And the other thing that they do with those gigs, and I don't know if you find this, it's they book you like to arrive just in time to do it, maybe have lunch and whatever, do the gig, and then fly back at 6 a.m. the next day. Like,
Yeah.
They're so rushed.
if I'm going to go all the way over there, and maybe some comics have families and want to get home. But
Yeah.
this guy wants to see Bucharest.
I want to see a little bit of the place. Otherwise, I don't know, because it's like I wouldn't go to those places if I wasn't gigging. You know what I mean? So at least I want to kill two birds and like see a bit of the history, find out about stuff, have some nice food or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate
Pierogi.
coming back the next day.
I think it's just like the double cheap flight, you know? Like if you go double early, it's double cheap. Whereas like if you want to go afternoon or something, it's like, they're like, nah, let's not do that.
Then I always end up getting so pissed the night before and then just this
Exactly.
the
You almost missed your
travel day.
You almost missed your flight every time. I've done that so many times. Being like, fuck, I'm not going to make it again.
And each time I'm like, right, I'm not going to get, I'll just have one. And then it's just like 6 a.m. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Damn it. But
Yeah.
this is the thing, and this is like this is me talking about admin again. It's a bit perfunctory, but I just want to get this message out there.
A lot of admin.
Honestly, to human beings and comedy promoters alike, BA is honestly about the same price. If you book it far enough in advance, 2 weeks before the gig, if you're like, oh, we don't have your flight details for you yet, and you're like, it's going to be Ryanair if you've left it this late.
Really? You go BA? I would never demand BA. That's like
No, it doesn't
that's
have
second
to be
tracksuit
BA.
money. I don't want to be.
Nah, it doesn't have to be BA, but ain't going to be budget.
Not gonna be budget, dude.
Ain't going to be.
Flybe is the worst.
When they book me EasyJet, I feel like a goddamn king.
Yeah, because it's a rung above
like,
Ryanair. I hear you.
yeah.
Yeah.
EasyJet,
Less
fuck,
delays
this is
and
easy.
shit.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I'll get it from Gatwick. Fucking yeah, dude. Love that. No, the one thing I was going to say, because I've noticed this, like, for me, I was just going to say, like, as women in comedy, forced question. As women in comedy, like, the kind of getting around, it's a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
And I'm sometimes kind of like, oh man, this is not a great position. For me
I've
to
started
be
being a bit more like hard with it. Like, because before I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever. But now it's almost like, is someone meeting me at the airport?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have I got a car sent for me? Or like give me exact directions to the place, or like, or if it's too far and I can't be fucked to get the train and travel or whatever, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get a cab and you're going to reimburse me for it.
Yes.
And it's like not even being rude, but just being very like, I'm a girl in a foreign country. And it's like, you should be giving me these things, you know
Safety
what I mean? Like,
is a huge issue.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially if you're alone as a working woman, this is our job. It's not like a holiday. So that's, I suppose, why I'm insisting on, all jokes aside, decent. Like if you're making me go to Stansted at 4 a.m, that's not safe. That's like a 50 quid cab for starters, or a very sketchy series of night buses. And then landing in a foreign country at crazy o'clock, that is also not safe. So that's where like budget airline are random times from random faraway places. So if you fly, it doesn't have to be BA, but a notch above, it means you're going to land at lunchtime. There's a train into town in whatever city you're in. Now we're talking.
Yeah. No, is it something that like stops you from taking gigs? Like, because that's kind of how I see it.
It's very stressful, and because it's not like, oh, like just going to the gig. It's like there's so much to remember. Like getting to the airport, getting there, finding the hotel, finding the venue. It's just like, so I always have to think when I get an offer through, like, can I be fucked for the stress? And like, is it going to be simple? Is the promoter cool? And is it enough money for me to like verify?
Once you take out the safety stuff out of the fee, because safety costs money.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here. is it worth doing the gig? So that's what I put back on the promoters now, which hopefully they're putting back on their audiences when it comes to ticket prices and budget.
More women are doing that. That's good.
And I think we don't look like divas because it's like saying, here's what you're asking me to do.
Because that's the thing. You don't do it because you don't want to be a diva. And especially like me, I don't get off a lot of things just because the way I am. People are like, oh, Sarah's all right. Nah, she can handle it. I remember I did a gig in London one time. Not in London, but in England. And I'd parked my car down the road and it was a pretty rough street. And then the gig ended, we had a couple of drinks and whatever. And then I was walking back and I thought, no one's even offered to walk me to my car. So I went back and I said, oh, sorry. And I was so embarrassed. And I was standing there going, oh, should I ask or not? I'm embarrassed. And I thought, nah, it doesn't matter if you're embarrassed or not. You don't feel safe going down that road. You should ask because someone should have offered really. And I spoke on the phone to another male comic and he couldn't believe that no one had offered me to walk me back. Anyway, I walked in and the geezer was like, oh, yeah, sorry. And he was super embarrassed.
They'll start to get used to doing it once we start saying it in a matter-of-fact way too. Not in a like, it's
or
business,
at least offer and
life.
I can turn it down.
Absolutely.
But to not even get an offer, I'm just like,
absolutely
cool, all right then.
And it's not offensive to offer. I'd be like, yeah, it's full on. Like there was a gig recently. I'm going to name the people actually because it's a good thing.
Name it.
Yeah, it was Uni of Kent, and they offered me a fee, which sounds really good. But then they said, like, to get here, you come into this station, and then there's like either a bus and another bus, and then here, which is very quiet, middle of nowhere, or a taxi is much easier, taxi or an Uber. And I said, that's great, I'll do that. I've looked at the price. It comes out as a bit less I said, I'm just trying to work out if it's worth me doing this, if I take out the taxi fee. To which they immediately replied and said, do you know what, actually, that's a fair point going forward. This is going to be, and they upped my fee to incorporate that and said, yep, sure. And I was like, there was no issue. And on the night, they treated me like all other acts. We had a great time. And I was like, love those guys. But yeah, you got to say, and then it's easier for the next person to say, because they'll start to go, all comics are asking this.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
how do I get there? Is it safe? Are you, how much is a cab?
And most of the time, they only don't offer, not to be cunty, I don't think. I think most people, their heart's in the right place. It's just greediness and money. They want to cut corners and save dough. So it's like, no, you're going to pay for my cab, innit? That's the least you can fucking do.
And maybe the fee used to be understandable, but time moves on and inflation. It's not... Comedy fees are one of the most laughable. Like our industry, the fees have been, some clubs have been the same for 20 years.
In Australia,
it's not going up. It's going
down.
Everything's gone down.
Yeah, like, there's so many free comedy clubs. Shout out to everyone in Melbourne and Sydney who's still running a paid comedy gig, and Hobart.
Good work, guys.
Your
Shannon
one was
McLeod,
nice that you booked me
Gavin
for.
Baskerville.
That was a fucking great room.
Julie Lawless.
Yeah.
I'm just naming people who are playing at the comedy store. Love you guys.
But that's why you got to have your fingers in those different pies, because you can't just solely do one thing anymore.
No.
Because the money just, like you said, things are getting more expensive, rent's going up, and the cost of living is more. So if you're doing gigs and you can't afford to live, then you can't just do one thing, you know?
Well, it's just that thing, like, when you're asking for slightly more from a promoter, like, I've started doing that here. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah.
Like, because
that's
like the funny thing, because, like, I think because of, like, just... there's a bit more of a movement with it, like with women and stuff. Like, I think dudes, like, I think we're really bad at asking for more. Like, we're kind of like, no, like,
maybe we're all just bad at asking for more.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I agree, like, you, like, the same with you guys. But, like, I just remember I did a gig with, like, Laura Davis, and she was just like, oh, let's get cab, they'll pay for it. And I'm like, I've never considered asking that, because, like, in my head, it's
good on
like,
her. I wouldn't think that, but I love that she's doing it. That is the way forward, and she's right. But
it's just like I'm willing to treat myself quite poorly to, like, overnight mega buses, like shit
You're
hotels
mad.
with shared
You are
bathrooms, like all that stuff to kind of get the money that I need to keep
it.
doing this thing. And I'm like, but as a dude, like, I can make a choice to treat myself quite poorly, but, like, I just think of, like, having my fiance in that situation. Like, I would not want her anywhere near that. Like, it's too dangerous. Like, to be, like, waiting at, like, 1 a.m. for a bus. Like, just in some weird town that you've never been to before.
It's always
got no
cold.
read on the
Why
place.
is it always cold? It's always winter when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I used to do that. And I haven't ruled it out totally. I know I'm like, I'm BA, baby. but there's still some gigs where you love the club or you love the person, and no train time would work, but you have to be back for some reason, and you're like, shit, I can't stay in a hotel. I have to get a mega bus at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I did that from Manchester, maybe last year, somewhere. Anyway, but yeah,
dude, that overnight Manchester mega bus is always full. Oh. Like, there's never an empty seat on it.
I don't like comedy enough. I I'd rather just not do the gig, innit? Like,
You learn a lot. There's material to be got from doing these journeys.
Oh, absolutely not. You can only
Keeps
almost
you
choke
grounded.
to death. Wait, I want to talk
so
about
what happened? Yeah.
I wanna
So
talk
you
about
almost
this
choked. Did the guy save your life then?
Well, no, this is the thing. This is how integrated I've become, I think. So I was on the train. I just had this big mouthful of chips. I must have just chewed particularly properly. And then I went to have another mouthful. And then I was like, oh, I've got indigestion. And I just felt it kind of settle low, in the throat. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I didn't. So this is how British this is what I view you guys as. Not the rudeness. It's this kind of, I don't want to bother anybody if at all possible. The worst thing I could do is make a scene. That is what this country does to you.
Yep.
And so I got up and I was just kind of looking around for a toilet to go choke in. Because I'd have some privacy.
Get my shit out of. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is offensive to you all. You don't want to see me
Yeah.
die.
Sorry, I know it's quiet carriage. I'll just find the toilet.
Quietly
So,
die.
Yeah. Seriously, that's my head. I'm well, I don't want to do it in front of anyone.
Fucking hell.
So I'm just looking around for a toilet, couldn't find it. Then I found a bin. So I was well, at least I'll be regurgitating these chips into the bin. So I kind of pulled the thing away and I'm just kind of clearing my throat. And this guy's just just clear your throat, breathe deep. Do you want me to hit you on the back? And I'm no, I'm fine, thank you. I really wanted him to.
Let
But
him. Oh my God, no.
So were you coughing or were you going, or what?
I was retching and just being oh
fuck.
man. Yeah. So anyway, and then eventually he's you sure you don't want me to do it? I'm oh, actually, yeah, please, that'd be great. So hits me on the back 3 times or something, as many times as he could handle. And then he goes, sits back down, and I'm just kind of getting it all out. And it took 15 minutes, a lot of retching, and just you'd get this little kind of regurgitated chip every now and again. I mean, if you're going to choke on anything, just as a public service announcement, hot chips, dude. Because they are malleable, potato, it'll melt, you'll, it's a good one to choke on. A hard crisp, I would have been in trouble.
I would have just downed loads of water.
But then it would go down. I needed to get it out.
Yeah, right.
But food's going down anyway.
No, it wasn't. Everything was just coming out. It all just kind of got clogged.
Trying to go to its
More
lungs
chips.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd have
Real
done.
good chips,
shit.
Triple
Waste
cooked.
of chips.
No, well, check this out. So I finished. The guy's just kind of oh, do you feel better now? And I'm yeah, man, I haven't choked in years. And he was oh, shit, I just thought you were hammered and vomiting on the train. So that's how, because you guys love to drink on the train. It's your favorite thing, getting fucking wasted on a late night train. And he just thought I was a hammer dude. And I was stone sober. And I was nah, man, I just was choking. He's oh, shit, I would have helped. Should have told me.
That's amazing. And that would have been a way to go. You would have made all the comedy websites, Daniel Muggleton.
Yeah, Death by Chip.
Who would you have left your tracksuit to?
I mean,
that's the big question.
I mean, whoever takes it off my body. Do you want it? You want the
Chip
tracksuit?
guy. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Well, no, the funniest thing was, so this guy, and then it's just oh, so what were you doing in Sheffield? And I'm I just did a gig. And he's what are you doing? I'm a comedian. He's oh, I've always wanted to do comedy. We just he added me on Facebook and
oh no,
asked me for comedy advice. And then the worst thing was I had to eat the chips. That was all the food I had, and it was my first mouthful, so I just had to go straight back in there.
The thing that tried to kill you, you're here I am.
The hair of the dog that bit you.
Stockholm syndrome.
Sometimes it's a chip.
You go back to your.
But all right, let's get into Sarah Callaghan. Actually, I want to tell you about End of the Road first. End of the Road Fest.
I should have put some water in here.
Yeah, do you want to? I mean, I don't have cooties.
That's fine. I don't mind.
It's cucumbery.
I know. I fucking hate cucumber, man.
You hate cucumber. It's because you can
I
taste
hate cucumber. And I'm called Sarah. Oh my God.
How did you comedy?
And do people give you grief about that?
Yeah, they're oh, it's just water. I'm it tastes like shit.
Oh my God. And it permeates everything it touches. You put it in a salad, dead. You put it in that,
do you guys
dead.
know why you hate the taste of it? Because you can actually taste it. Most people can't taste cucumber.
Really?
We have highly developed olfactory or taste sensation.
That's
Thank
the thing.
you.
Because
Anyway,
cucumber
No
itself has quite a strong flavour, but someone like me, it just tastes like water because I can't actually taste it.
Oh no.
So
I can
that's you
taste it
guys.
in water.
Yeah,
You can taste it, but not these guys that'd be this powerful, overriding.
Yeah, but can you not
flavour.
taste it because you have it all the time?
No.
Oh.
Just it's just a genuine taste bud thing.
Shit. Is this a real thing?
It's a real thing.
I've read that about marzipan. I'm not a fan of marzipan either.
I fucking hate marzipan.
Ah, okay. So apparently this goes back to hunter-gatherer days. That marzipan...
Hunting cakes.
The scent, yes. Marzipan,
Hunting stuffed figs.
armidescence-y kind of that vibe, is reminiscent of arsenic. And women especially have a more highly developed olfactory sense. And we could detect it. And it's because it's a response to poison. No, that's bad. So marzipan, if you hate it, you are a better and more highly developed individual.
We're just better people, really.
Just
aren't
better
we?
people,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so cool to see the internet live. Women telling each other how good they're going. Cut that. Anyway, obviously a joke. I'm ill. No, so...
And that's why they call him the
dark side.
I looked
Nice
him
little
up
callback
and
there, I
I
like
couldn't
it.
find him. All I could
Oh,
find
thank
was
God.
Tim Minchin's first album is called The Dark Side.
Oh.
all right.
Interesting.
Imagine
It's
If
him.
that was his,
It's just a
that's what he came back as.
just with
It's
a
a
piano.
great
That's why
character.
they call me the dark side. Everyone will be like, oh, this is great now.
He's
I
come
like
on
it.
really well since last time I saw him, actually.
Hasn't he? Yeah, he's lost a trench coat. Still got the long hair though.
So, oh man, that'd be so great if Tim Minchin was the dark side.
And I'm the only person who remembers it. He's going to get me killed.
It's gonna be over. That'd be a great origin story.
Yeah.
So Jim Jeffries is an opera singer. Tim Minchin was the dark side. They just switched on like a Freaky Friday type thing. Sarah Callaghan, London local, West London.
Yeah, West Side.
Uxbridge.
Yeah.
I looked it up. What zone's that? How far out we talking?
It's Zone 6. I live right by a Met line, so fuck you.
Zone 6.
Yeah, I have some.
That's
Some
pretty-
people say,
It's
oh,
a
it's the
long way.
countryside, but it ain't.
It's
If you go
pretty-
like Amersham, Maidenhead Way, then it is.
Do you have a
but-
high street?
Yeah.
So all the chain stores and the... Oh, also high street. That's a term we don't use back in
That's
Australia.
true.
The high street to mean the main street of any town.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a normal suburb,
But
right?
do,
Yeah.
do you think our main streets are less like...
Homogenized?
Yes, as their ones? Because
Yeah.
like high streets in the UK are like the same to a creepy
Yeah,
extent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's the same shops in the same order. But apparently that's new. Someone was explaining that to me. Like that was like a recent development because they
Boots
used to be more mum and pop kind of shops.
Well, it's just like independent stuff, but now like all the brands have come
Yeah.
in. So.
Yeah, and that's in like
That's
villages
why when
also.
you go anywhere, it's always the same. Because
Always
there's always
the
a
same.
Costa, there's always a Subway, there's always a fucking
Boots.
boots, stuff like
Look, I
that.
gotta say, I kind of appreciate it. Just as like a comedian coming in and out of town, it's like I
It's
don't
a
want
head fuck though, man, because you can be like Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, and you're just like, I don't know where I am. Because everything looks the same. There's always a cobbled street.
The
Yeah,
accents.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
where am I?
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
like, fucking Liverpool.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, thanks, dude. All right, that's good. Very helpful.
Where am I? And they just glass you in the face. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in Liverpool, yeah.
How cold is it? And can I
how
see the
cold it
sea?
is.
Yeah, so Zone 6. Talk about zones. I want to talk about zones a little. I think like that's like some deep London chat.
Okay.
Because like Zone 1 is where grown-ups live. Is it Zone 1? Zone 1?
I'm border of zone 1 and 2, mate.
Well, that's not bad.
I have a different theory.
What's your theory, please?
The fun stuff, the actions in zone 1, the stuff you go to, touristy, shops, businesses,
Nightmare.
work,
Nightmare.
theatres, music venues, and everyone lives in zone 2, 3. Like that's the burbs. And then 4, 5, 6 more family burbs.
Uh-huh.
But 1 is the action.
One
no
is the
one
action.
really lives in 1 unless you're a suit and you live in the city.
You're rich, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not, I actually don't think I would prefer to live in the 1.
Right.
If I,
you want
like
the,
if
you
I
want
made,
the 2? Is the 2 the dream?
2 is the dream.
What about you?
Yeah, if I was minted, I'd get like a penthouse suite, maybe in like Camden or Islington or something like that. Yeah.
baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like living in the suburb, and then I'd get a huge big mansion out in the countryside. So I'd have like a couple of different properties. You know what I'm saying? So I could have my city time, and then I could have my chill time.
So you like
I've got
you
it
like
figured out, mate.
you like
She
the
has.
chill of the suburbs. You want
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
like coming from Australia, like live. Because like I lived in Shoreditch, and I was like, well, if I'm coming here, I may as well fucking
Yeah.
London it.
I mean, it'd
You
be
know,
easier
like-
if I lived in a bit more central, but the thing is, it's more expensive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like getting away from it all.
So is it-
And I don't need to give lifts to comedians because they never say, oh, can you give me a lift? Are you driving? I'm like, yeah, I'm driving to Manchester. And they'll be like, oh yeah, can I jump in? I'm like, cool, you have to come to Uxbridge first. They was like, all right, I'll just get the train. I'm like, ah! So,
She's off the hook.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a bonus.
Yeah, because like, I guess you got a car out there, right? Like if you're in Zone 6, you got a car.
Yeah, I've got a car. But it's just like, I like where I live because it's like hour and a half that way, I'm on the beach. Hour and a half there, I'm in the city.
Wait,
And then-
that way you're on the beach.
Yeah, like Dorset, Bournemouth sort of way, like 1.5, 2 hours. And then also it's like I'm right on the M25, so when I'm gigging in like Nottingham, Birmingham and all that, it doesn't
Yeah.
take me that long. Whereas
Okay.
everyone else, it takes them, you've got like an hour to get out of London.
Yeah,
But
the
you've got to
getting
pay
out
for
of
a train.
London is...
So yeah,
a big
in
part of
terms
the
of
journey.
comedy, it's actually all right, man, because I do a
Mm.
lot of stuff outside London, so it makes it easier for me.
But like, have you ever lived in closer? Or have you always just kind of
No,
stayed?
no.
Is that where you grew up?
Yeah.
Same house?
No, not same house.
Same house.
Not same house.
Not same house.
Mm.
Okay. And that's interesting. And like, what's that kind of what's Uxbridge known for? What's its vibe?
It's pretty racist.
Did it vote leave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically where I live
It's pretty racist.
Oh, it is. It's like basically everyone that came from London, like East End or South, that came there to raise families. So there's a lot of like gangsters. I used to work in pubs around there, and like old school gangsters were just like hard cunts that have like chilled out. But then they'll go to the pub every day, and so that's the sort of people.
They'd gone to seed there in Uxbridge.
Yeah, and it's there's like no. I mean, they're starting to get a few more Indian people, but it's always a very white place.
Sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then so I live in a place called like Ickenham. I grew up in Hillingdon and Ickenham. Uxbridge is like, it's really mad. Like, if anyone's Uxbridge, yeah, it's just like it's full of weirdos. Because basically there was like a mental health hospital that shut down, and then they just put them all into the streets, like into like accommodation. There's a geezer who runs a flower store with 2 heads and shit.
What?
2 heads. Mooch is in now.
What?
Mooch is like, what?
Quit it.
Well, it's like a tumour, but it's got eyes and a nose. Yeah, and then there's like people with like loads of like disabilities and stuff and like wheelchairs. It's a bit fucked.
More about this head.
I think, and
the eyes move.
Well, no, they're like that.
They kind of cross over.
How big is this tumour?
It's a head. It's huge. It just sits on his.
Why does it have
shoulder.
eyes?
That's a thing in South Park.
I don't think tumours get
fucked.
eyes.
It's
Do they?
so
There's a
fucked,
film with
man.
Rick Mayall as well.
It's so bad. I remember him when I was a little girl, and I used to go there like shopping my mum's.
Yeah,
stuff.
it would scar
And
you
he's
for
still
life.
there, yeah. I thought he'd be dead by now, but.
He's got 2 heads. 2 heads are better than
How
one.
the flowers? Good flowers? You still go to the store?
Yeah, flowers are great. So yeah, it's really weird. Like, so Uxbridge, like town centre, I only ever go there when I know exactly what I want to buy. It's like in, out, bang. Like,
flowers.
I don't fuck around.
From the
Always the flowers. Come on, man. You've got to stop by the store.
So yeah, I mean, it's all right.
So it's a weird. You give
He
me
should do
like
comedy.
weird. It's definitely
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah,
But
yeah.
You don't want to leave though. You're like, I want to chill in there. Or are you like slightly away?
Well, it's
from-
like I go there to sleep. I'm always in London. Like I'm here every day, like all over town, or I'm away, like gigging or whatever. So it's just somewhere for me to sleep. And I live by a park, and it's just nice. But yeah, like in terms of like living there and doing stuff. Put it this way. Like when I first started doing comedy, like mates wouldn't come and see me regularly because it's like them going up to London. It's that mentality of like, wow, you're going to London.
Right.
Like they'd go to London once a year. That's it. Like London is so
Wow.
far away.
That
I'm
is
like, man, I get the
interesting.
train into town every day. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like
And
the
they can't believe
north-south
it.
divide in London. People are like, oh, got to go visit a friend in South London. Oh, South London. Oh, West London.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like it
People
is
have
long,
this
but I'm just
real-
used to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very small town mentality. So it's like for me doing comedy, everyone's like, oh my god.
So would they see themselves as separate to London? They're like, we're not part of London.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Because like, what? It's an hour on the train?
Yeah.
Not even?
I just think if you're on the map, then it's London.
You're in London.
You know
yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's so high speed. That's something I'm like. I go back to Australia and I miss the London Tube. That probably sounds
Wow.
really nerdy, like I'm a train spotter, and maybe I am. But I think the Tube is a revelation. It's incredible. It's
But we
color
still haven't got
coded.
the
It's high
night
speed.
tube. Though.
It's trying to come in. Yeah.
It's got
It's
weekends.
Friday, Saturday. They're having
Yeah. And
And the
Central Line's
Elizabeth
all
line, the
night.
purple line is about to open. So damn excited.
But it doesn't
New
go back
Tube
to where
line.
I live. It's fucking bullshit.
Uh-huh.
Because I went back and it stopped at like, where was it, Ealing or something. So I called an Uber and I was super drunk and I said the name of my road and fell asleep in the cab, woke up and he's like, we're here. And I'm like, this isn't where I live. And he starts like screwing at me, like saying, this is what you said, this is what you said. And he showed me the app and I'm like, what the fuck? And my vision's all hazy and I'm like, am I going mad? This isn't my house. Like, where have you taken me? And it was in fucking Hanwell, a same road, the same as mine's called.
Right.
And I was just
Oh.
like, fuck. And I was like, nah, man. So he had to take me to my house and it cost me like triple the price. I was screwing.
I had that in Australia. A guy tried to just take me on a ride because I fell asleep in the cab. And then he took me to a police station because I was like, dude, I'm not paying this. Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no way.
What did
'Cause
the
I-
police say? Did they take your side?
Yeah, they were like, look, just pay like the regular fare that it would have been and then you can leave. And then, so I paid it and the guy just drove off, left me at the police station.
Oh, no.
And did they offer to drive you home?
No, I walked in and I was like, he just left me here. And he's like, yep. And I was like, you're not going to help me out? I'm like, nah, you're drunk.
How
And I'm
far
like,
were
"For
you from
fuck's
home?"
sake." Like a good hour's walk.
Shit.
I had to call my mum, being like, hey, mum, I'm at the police station. She was like, what? And I'm like, nothing like that. Everything's fine. Just this cunt taxi driver.
Yeah, you don't seem
You
the
say
type
that to
to
your
get
mum?
arrested, though, to be fair.
Did you
What?
say this cunt taxi driver to your mum?
Oh, I was hammered, yeah, for sure. I would have lit him up over the phone. 100%. Fuck him, dude. I still remember. Talk about if you know Sydney, this will make sense to you. But basically, took me from the city. I live like half an hour like west of the city. He took me an hour and a half north.
Bad man.
Bad. Just crazy. That'd be like, hey, could you take me to Ealing? And he like took me to like Birmingham.
Oh
Like,
my
it'd be like, what the
God.
fuck? Anyway, enough of that. But no, so West London. Is it West London? You count as like West London. What's the vibe in West London? Because I live east, and east seems to be like trendy now. Used to be kind of Cockney. What's the West London kind of? Because West London means fancy. Like when I think West London, I think like
Notting Hill,
Chiswick.
Yeah.
Like these kind of like Chelsea, like that kind of shit.
I just feel like it's just super like ordinary. It's nothing.
Yeah,
really.
the Burby parts.
Yeah.
Same with East London. There's Burby bits, aren't there? And North as well.
So what's like an East London like suburban? What's like your equivalent going the other way?
Leytonstone.
Yeah,
Leyton.
Okay.
And North would be like Wood Green. It's trying to get trendy, but it's still suburban.
Is it East Finchley?
Yeah. East Finchley.
Edgware.
Right.
Like I can drive to Edgware in 15 minutes because I'll just go around the top. You know what I mean? Anywhere where there's a fucking parking on the road, you can park on the road easy, or if you've got to drive,
that'll make a family area. Yeah.
Okay. And so like
terraces, as far as the eye can see.
Okay, interesting. And so like you say like your friends like would come into London like once a year. So like you doing comedy, is that like fucking remarkable for someone from Uxbridge?
Yeah.
So how'd you do it then? Like what made you? Because like I find Australians doing comedy really weird because like we're not encouraged to speak ever. It's just kind of like play sport, like So like how
the arts.
Exactly.
It's always said with a question mark. The arts.
Like we get real Australian when you say it. It's never like the arts. It's like the
arts.
arts. Like, really.
Oh, you think you're pretty fucking good, don't you? The arts.
Fucking painting.
Oh, look at you.
What?
Oh, gross.
Mate, you on stage talking.
Oh, jeez. Nah. You think get your hand off it? That's a great Aussie.
Pull your fucking head in, mate. Honestly.
Wind your neck in.
Yeah. Wind your neck in? Is that what you guys say?
Yeah, wind your neck in, yeah.
What?
But if someone's getting a bit lippy, then we'd say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wind your neck in. Okay, so how'd you get into comedy if you're coming from... Are these like humble beginnings? Am I to say that? You got the two-head flower guy. I don't know if he's like...
I just always liked things arty and that, but I didn't want to get a job, so... And I just fell into comedy, and then I started doing it. Like, put it this way, if I knew, I mean, I've had some amazing experiences in comedy, and I'm very grateful for that.
Because we met in Australia when you were brought out. Flown out to Australia, big headliner, Sarah Callaghan.
Yeah, and it was fun, and it is fun. I love it, but it's like if someone had told me how much like traveling and the stress and all the different obstacles I would have had over the last 10 years, someone had told me that when I was first getting into it, I probably would have been like, nah. You know what I mean? But because I didn't know I didn't know anything about comedy, never wanted to be a comedian, didn't know the history, never used to watch it. It was never something that I ever wanted to do. I didn't know any comedians either. So it's like,
how did it come across your radar?
I just started doing it, and then I'm like, oh fucking hell, and I just basically So I'll give you my art history. So when I was younger, I used to like do plays and shit, and then I was like part of amateur dramatics, and I started getting into improv. Then
what's amateur
Amateur dramatics, just as like plays and just like when I'm like when I was a kid.
Like a community will put on a famous play.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's of a certain level, but there's some people who come through, don't they?
Yeah.
From that world. Yeah.
And then when I was 13, I got flown out to Chicago and did Second City, and then I started getting into improv a little bit more. Yeah.
Why did you get flown out to?
Because I was part of this council-based
That's
group.
amazing.
And
just Bill Murray,
just
really
where
good,
he went.
So
they
no
shut
big
me
deal.
out. I was with all the older kids, so it was only supposed to be like the older classes.
Right.
But then because I was like good, they were like, oh, let's bring Sarah.
You were
so great.
Yeah,
do you have photos from that time?
Yeah. It was probably a life-changing moment for me. And looking back, I didn't realize how big that moment was for me in terms of confidence and being like, fuck, I'm actually quite funny. Because up until then, I wasn't really doing funny stuff. And then I went to school and I was doing like musicals and shit. But like, I'm not a singer or dancer, so I was always get like the comedy roles, Then I did some like clowning course thing just for fun. And,
you did a clowning course?
Yeah.
Way before it was hip.
Yeah,
you are old school.
But it was like a mixture. So it was like 6 weeks, and they touched a little bit on clowning, touched a little bit on improv, touched a little bit on something else coming. But anyway, it was fun. Then
but you did a clowning, like Sarah Callaghan, who I'm still kind of afraid of, even though she's my friend, a clowning course.
Yeah.
Just falling over and shit? Like
no, so it was like with masks and learning how to be funny without having any facial expressions. So you put on a clear mask. How can you be funny? How can you interact with people without using your voice? That sort of stuff. So again, I was just like, okay, fine. But like subconsciously picking up all these skills. And then when I left school, I was depressed. I had no direction. I'm like, I don't know what job I want. I don't want to learn anymore. I don't want to go uni. I don't want a career and then so my mum's like, you need to get a job done. I was like, I'm just going to move to Madrid. So I packed a bag and I just moved to the country because I thought that would I'm I'm just going to go travelling.
It'll work itself out in Madrid.
Didn't speak any Spanish at the time. And ended up like living with this family and like it all fucking went tits up and shit. Came back.
Wait, no, sorry, can we just talk about the Madrid thing a little bit because I did look this up before you came on. You went there to teach English.
Yeah.
Is that not funny to like anyone else? Like a bunch of Spanish.
Say in it.
Yeah, bunch of Spanish kids being like, habla in it. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's bad. Those kids were cunts as well. So I came back and then I fell into a super bad depression, like super bad, like loads of things that I wasn't really dealing with and no direction, had no money. And then so my mum was just like, and I was trying to get a job, but then it was the whole thing of like, when you've got no experience. I'm like, yes, but I need that first job.
Yes.
So had a couple of interviews, didn't get anything. So I, again, getting just worse and worse. And my mum was like, look, you need to do something, even if you're not getting a job. I know you're trying, but you can't stay in the house. You need to do something with your time, get a hobby, do something. So I'm like, fucking hell. So I go on the website. I'm like, okay, what should I do? And I got an email through from that company that I did all the clowning shit with from before. And they're doing stand-up comedy courses. So I'm like, oh, fucking give it a go. Might as well.
Yeah.
So I signed up to the course, did the course. And then did a showcase. And then at the end, because people did the course for loads of different reasons, like confidence or public speaking, like if they worked in a really boring job. So there was only 3 people on the course that actually wanted to be comedians. I was just doing it for something to do, innit? And did the showcase, went well. And then the guy who runs it, Keith Palmer, big up Keith Palmer in it, comedy school. And everyone's got loads of people have come through it as well, like Quincy, Adam Bloom, Dane Baptiste, all went to the comedy school. Yeah, in Camden. Yeah.
Wow.
So I go back there regularly and do talks and shit. They do stuff for night crime. They're doing a mental health course, which I did with them. So they go and they teach courses to people with schizophrenia and bipolar and stuff and teach them because laughter's such a good way. So they do some amazing things for the community and they put on big shows for Felix Dexter and stuff because he died, and put on big shows at the Apollo, and incredible people, and they've been so good to me, and they believed in me right at the start. So he said to me, Keith was just like, are you going to carry on comedy? And I was like, I don't want to be a comedian. This was just for banter. During this time, I'd got a job in a pub. So I was like, I've got a job now, innit? So there's no point me being here. He said, oh, well, look, here's a list of open mics. I think you should give it a go. I think you're funny.
Oh,
and so I started doing it. And it's like comedy's so addictive. And then I started making friends and then started getting paid here and there. And then within 6 months I was signed and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. And then 10 years later, I'm still here. So yeah, that was it.
And long may you stay. That cannot change.
Cheers,
that's such an inspiring story.
Thanks. And it's like, as well, it's, I find like my journey is like an apprenticeship. People are like, oh, I love Richard Pryor, or like I've always wanted to be a stand-up. Like I didn't know anything about comedy. So like as I'm going along, I'm finding out comedians, I'm finding out the history of comedy, I'm finding out about like different gigs and like my style and finding my voice, and it's all just been so. That's why the first time I went to Australia, I had mad imposter syndrome, like to the point where I was in my hotel room before I did Sydney Opera House, crying because I was like, I shouldn't be here. And I was so overwhelmed and it was incredibly overwhelming. And I remember just before I went on stage, I was like biting my fingernails, and one of the fucking staff was just like, God, you're gonna have no fingers left by the time you go on stage. And afterwards I was like, oh, it was mad. But yeah, I feel like now I'm starting to get to a stage where I'm like, no, I should be here, and I've worked hard for this. So
it's so interesting, like for someone who like didn't really see going into comedy, like you seem to have like the most thorough undergrad in terms of comedy I've like ever heard of anyone.
It's mad, isn't it?
Like
it's
just like
how
every single aspect. It's like, I've done a course in this. Like, this kind of
13 years of age at Second City.
Yeah.
If I had that in the bank at 13, everything would be, who knows? Different.
But that is why, like, I truly believe that, like, the universe has a plan.
It was like
plan,
guiding you at every juncture.
Yeah, because obviously, that's just in a nutshell. But I was doing all different bits and bobs during that time. Different relationships I had with people, different things, and it's just like. Different thing, if that had gone better when I was living in Madrid, I never would have come back home. I never would have got depressed. I never would have gone back to the comedy school.
You would have just lived in Madrid?
Things went bang. You know what I mean? No,
Senorita Sarah.
What the plan was,
Madrid.
I was going to go to Madrid for a year, then I was going to go to Mexico and get a husband and have like a Spanish kid and shit. And then I was just going to like go to all these like Spanish speaking countries and like eat good food.
And I fully believe if you set your mind to it, that's what you would have done.
Yeah.
I know what you're like.
Yeah, that was the plan, but now I'm doing this.
Did you... retrospectively, now you learned about comedy as you were doing comedy rather than, as you said, like people who were like, I always love Richard Pryor or whatever. Did you, like, as you were learning more, growing up in comedy, did you look back at things you did like Second City and go, that was a big deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a really important place, and that's super exciting.
Because there's been times where I haven't liked doing comedy, and that, you know, my relationship with it has been so like up and down, very love-hate relationship with it. So in the times of, oh, fuck this, why am I even doing this? Yeah, I would look back and be like, nah, I think you're meant to, everything's working out exactly how it should, you know?
I think
that's the way I've kept going.
I think that's quite common in like any kind of art stuff. Like the achievements seem bigger in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like at the time, you're kind of like, God, why isn't this thing? But then you look back and you're like, that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're so in it, you can't see it. Yeah.
But like, it just, was your family was like supportive the whole time? Because like no, they weren't supportive of the comedy thing at all. No.
My mum always was, but my mum was supportive because she was my mum. Like I don't think she believed in me or believed it would go anywhere. And my character before that was the sort of person that would just give up everything. Like I've tried everything and just given up everything.
Sure.
And like, so my mum's like, well, it's just another fad. There's another thing that you're going to try and fucking quit in like a couple of months' time or whatever.
So I'll give the illusion of support.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? She'd come to
be surprised if you,
like she'd never be like, oh, that was sick or whatever. And like the rest of my family, I couldn't give a fuck really. It's taken all this time for them to be like, yeah.
And what was the turning point? Was it like TV stuff or radio stuff?
Yeah. And just opportunities like going to Australia and stuff. It's just like, I'm being paid to go to the furthest place away ever to do stand-up. Like,
Sydney
come on,
Opera
man.
House.
Yeah.
Me, I'm in there.
Yeah.
I'm not an opera.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I must be all right, you know?
Yeah. No, do you think that's like the kind of support thing? Is it a working class thing that they were just kind of like, this isn't a real job? Or like...
My old man and my granddad for sure. Like especially when he's like, oh, I need to pay for Edinburgh. Like, and I was like saving. I was like working and trying to save. It's just shit. Like, it's what's the word? It's like a luxury. Like he would have one pair of shoes. Like he worked on the docks. He came from South London, and like he like would have holes in his shoes and stuff. And it's like, and you're paying all this money to go to an arts festival and getting nothing back. Like
the arts.
What the fuck? Like
the
he just didn't understand it. And yeah, my aunties were a bit suspicious of the whole thing. But
I just think it's like an interesting thing because like in Australia, the class system isn't nearly as kind of set as it is here. Like the British people fucking love it.
I think it's insidiously there.
But it's not like you can, in Australia, there's like mobility. I think like you can buy your way into anywhere.
Well,
like
you can do that anywhere though. I'm so sick of this whole fucking class thing. Like it's just bullshit. Yeah. Because people either use it for a cop out or like, like an angle. But like you said, if you work hard, you can do anything.
But in Australia, so there's a few terms. It's like nouveau riche, isn't it? It's like cashed up bogans. That's what they call it. And it's a sneering term that upper middle class and middle class people, they'll use that to say like...
But like cashed up bogans, it is funny when people like, hey, let's buy a fourth jet ski. Like, that's just kind of their vibe.
Yeah. But
that's what I'm going to be like when I make it and become a millionaire. I'm like, jet skis for everyone!
You're like Oprah, the Oprah of comedy. Oh, yeah.
You
like
get a
Robin
jet
Hood.
ski. You get a jet ski. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what you think because the class thing, it's just not something that I really noticed in Australia. Like, whereas here, there's like a real, like, we need more working class voices on TV.
But now they're putting fake working class people on TV, which is interesting.
Really? That's been brought up before, hasn't it? That was Rob Mulholland.
Yeah.
Talking about people
Big up Rob Mulholland. Yeah.
People putting on accents, being
it's very cringe and it's very transparent, but whatever. I think talent prevails in the end, and the right people will make it at the right time.
Nice. Well, and you've done the comedy thing, and I think when I came over here, it was probably, I would assume, one of the times where you're falling out of love with it a little bit.
Do you think?
Because you seem to be like not working as much. When I first got it, that's like about a year ago, 2 years ago, almost.
I've always consistently worked. I think I just wasn't shouting about it as much because I wasn't. Yeah, my heart definitely fell out of love with it for a while. Yeah, but I'm on the rise now, which is nice. Yeah, because I always love coming back up and be like, oh.
Well, that's what I
giving a boyfriend a second chance. He's like one of those. I was like, it's gonna be good this time.
Makeup
He's changed. Yeah.
No, because I was just gonna say because like that's kind of coincided with the spoken word stuff, which you're now. This is the thing. Sarah's like the most artsy. Ooh, horrible slur in Australia. One of the worst.
Really?
Yeah, just you're doing spoken word and stuff as well, which is absurd. How'd that happen? Poetry. Working class. Poetry. Get out of arts, mate.
Well, again, that was another thing that I just fell into. So I've always written poetry, like, since I was young.
Right.
Just for fun, just for something. You know, I've always written stories. Like, I just like writing. And I came out of a really, really toxic relationship last year. Mm-hmm. So I just started writing. Just for my own therapy, really. And then I went to my mate, like, I've got this, like, really spiritual mate, like, so we always go to, like, meditation classes and sound healing shit and stuff. So whenever I'm feeling down, she's just like, come on, this guy's putting on this, like, great evening, like, full of crystals, and we're going to burn sage and
sound healing. Do, like, is that like the gong bar?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like, fuck it.
I know what that
I go,
is?
no, it's actually, it's so fucking good, man.
Right, okay.
It's sick. So, like, whenever I'm feeling down, she's like, come. I'm like, well, I've got nothing else to do, like, might as well. Like, so we had this evening, and then sometimes they do, like, open mics at the end. Not open mics, but you can get up and you can, like, say something, you can like bless the crowd, or you can play an instrument, sing a song, do whatever you want. It's just a space for you to express yourself in any way that's, you know, in a safe space, non-offensive, whatever. So a couple of people did a few things. I was like, all right, sweet. And then they were like, right, anybody else? And my friend was like, oh yeah, she's got a poem. And I was like, no, I haven't, like, because I'd never read one out loud before. And I was like, no. And they were like, oh no, come on. So there's like 20 people going, come on, it's a safe space. Come on, don't be scared. And I'm like, fuck, now I have to do this, because it was otherwise maybe like a pussy off if I didn't do it. Yeah. So I got up there and I read this poem, and it was so cringe. I was like reading it out on my phone, just like, I was like shaking, and they thought I was like nervous to get up and speak. I'm like, I'm not scared of the stage. Like, I do this all the time. It's the content, and it's because it's so raw and real, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and stand-up is like often insincere.
Yeah, and you're wearing a mask, and it was just, I'd never been that raw, and I was in such a raw time in my life anyway, and it was just, it was like, I had like not an out-of-body experience, but it was a really strange experience. But the acceptance, I think I've always longed for acceptance, because I've always been misunderstood, and, you know, it was a crazy feeling, and to read a poem so shit and from a phone, and to have no eye contact, and the reaction I got, just people being like, thank you for sharing that. And it helped like people, and everyone was like proper hugging me. It was amazing. And then I just started writing more, and then when I started to perform them and look people in the eyes, and
even better,
they were like, fuck, because obviously I've had all this years of performance skills and how to work the room and shit. It just elevated it. And then once I incorporated the music, it's gone a bit mad since then. And
are you getting comparisons with Kate Tempest? Is that boring?
Yeah, and Mike Skinner as well.
Yeah. I love Mike Skinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just not a world. I love that you know about
streets,
this world.
The Streets is Mike Skinner.
I know Mike Skinner, but Kate Tempest.
But she moved
she's amazing.
From straight poetry, didn't she, into indie music, and then won. Did she win the Mercury? She was nominated.
She won it, I think.
Yeah. So she's like big powerhouse, but also because she's got sort of like working class roots. Blah blah blah. Is that? I know what I've said is. Do you get comparisons? That must be really boring, because then I've literally raised that comparison.
But it's an amazing compliment, you know what I mean? Because she is so good at what she does, you know what I mean? So so that's that. But again, that's another thing I fell into. I'm just really surrendering to the universe and just trying to go with the flow.
Yeah, where are you gigging? Where can we see you?
So I do a lot of stuff for Sofa Sounds, but then I gig all over the place really. There's loads of different wicked nights. A lot of hip hop nights, and I do stuff with like live bands and shit.
I was just gonna say, sorry, we should we'll do the like plugs at the end. I promise. People know exactly where to see you. But I just want to ask one more question, because we should get out of here. Both of you seem very like musically inclined.
Do you play any instruments?
No, I wish I did.
Oh, I play the drums.
I have synthesizers, and I'm pretty good, but nothing. I have put it on stage in my comedy before. I had a character act called Right Eye Ramirez, who was kind of like
the dark side.
Parody of The Dark Side, and that's why they call me Right Eye Ramirez. She was like based on that whole idea of like, you know, On Vogue, Salt and Pepper, those kind of girls back then who had and Nana Cherry, like Buffalo Stance, that song. There was a vibe about all those women that was like really feminist, but sort of really funny, and like, was it self-aware or unaware? I don't know. But they would be like so assured that men wanted to fuck them, that anything else wasn't an option. So you're like, the guy's a gigolo, man. He wants it. Yeah, he does. You know it. Oh, get away. And I just thought that was so fucking brilliant. So I wrote a character around that. And I used my synthesizer for that. That's the closest I've come to playing an instrument live on stage, and that was real fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever do it on stage.
Yeah, the drums. I've seen drum videos. You'll occasionally put up a little video of the drumming, but like I've just always Because I just have no musical talent nor inclination. Like, I mean, I like rap, but that's words also. But why'd you guys never explore kind of music? Because it seems more accessible to me than comedy. That's like the weird thing about music.
And drummers, everyone needs a drummer. Drummers are hard to come by.
I've got an album coming out, which I will plug. But so I am going into music. I'm just trying to do it all. If I can, and I'm like getting back into acting. If I can do that, that's what I'm saying. If you've got your fingers in loads of different pies, then there's more opportunities to make money, and it's just building up more skills in it. You know what I mean?
That's just
Which,
And yourself? Second Sarah? First Sarah? I think first.
I love it. It always felt like a magical art form to me. I loved indie music bands. I now work for a music festival and I perform it like as
What
do
music
you.
festival do you work for?
End of the Road Festival in September every year.
Very good festival.
This guy's done it.
Good.
But I do radio backstage at Glastonbury every year.
Sick.
Latitude I'm at, like doing comedy on the comedy stage. Like over here, that's another thing that's not as prevalent in Australia. There's like a whole music festival circuit all summer or in autumn long, really. Deershed Festival I do. But that means I can be up close to the stuff I love, which is music. Did I ever want to be on stage in it? Maybe. But did I ever...
Rockstar, man.
Yeah, but I don't know if I ever... That's really interesting. I think I wanted it to be this distant, magical, aspirational art form that I could watch and never peer behind the curtain. Because now I've seen behind the curtain in comedy, I know how it works.
Yeah.
So I watch comedy
music to always
differently.
be magical.
Yeah, exactly. So like I watch stand-up, a really good stand-up, and I'm like, fuck, that's amazing. I wonder how he signed off on the liability insurance to use that torch or whatever. Like I'm thinking about the layout of the room, the techniques he's using.
What a director's called? Behind the camera. You can't watch a movie anymore without seeing behind the camera.
Right.
Like you're like, everyone else is looking what's on the screen. They're being like, all right, so there's a lighting guy over there, like sound guy there. He's got 3. Okay.
And you always know a comic in an audience because they'll laugh at weird spots because they're like admiring the setup or the technique of what you're about to do.
Or just be me at the back going, very good.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're
Very
saying,
good.
very good, or nice, yeah.
Like laugh is just nodding, like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can still appreciate it and love it, but it's not like magic. I see a band and I'm just like,
yes.
Yeah.
Not to ruin the magic. You're like, I got this one thing that I really like. Let's not ruin it by.
Working at music festivals means I get to be close to it, and I've met a lot of my music heroes.
God, you're so lucky, man. I'd love to do Glastonbury.
Yeah, it is amazing. It is amazing. You do. It's bonkers. But I don't ever want to be so in it that it wrecks it for me. Where I'm like sound check and who's got the DI box and lugging shit. That's just me riffing on what I imagine they say. Maybe it is just like coke and party.
Pussy.
Yeah.
You'd suit playing the guitar, I think.
Suit playing the guitar.
Yeah, because you just have to stand straight. And
I did play bass quite poorly for a long time. That's the exact
Why aren't
guitar.
you in a band, friend?
What?
Why aren't you in a band?
Why not in a band? Because I didn't want to do any of this. I'd never thought of myself as a performer at all.
Oh, you did a Callaghan. You didn't think stand up.
She always did stuff. I never did a play. I never did a thing.
Wow.
Did you go to Second City at age 13?
No,
Oh,
believe it or not.
So what did you do before that? Nothing.
I was just good at school. I did law at university.
Tell you why? Because you got a missus and you're happy in your relationship.
That's true.
So it's like there's no need for anything else. That's why I just want to do everything now, because when I get settled with a nice guy, I'm probably going to quit everything.
Have a kid.
I'll just be like, oh, fuck it, doesn't matter. I'm happy in it.
You can do both. You can have the kid.
You can have both,
yeah, I hope so.
Like, sorry to quote,
I'd love to give birth
60s
on
feminism,
stage. That'd be
60s?
jokes.
You can have it all.
Yeah.
You can't have it all, but you can have both.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have it
sure.
all, though.
You can have
a
upwards
lot.
of 2 things.
Yeah, I reckon 3
That's
is
a new.
a lot.
Yeah. 3's. Come on now.
Yeah, that's just being
Bring it down a
greedy.
notch. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Oh, wait, one more question. Where would you live in the world if not where you live currently? If you couldn't live in London, if you couldn't live in Uxbridge, where would you live?
In the whole world?
In the whole goddamn world.
Iceland or New York?
Iceland or New York? We got a lot of New Yorks. Iceland's a newie.
Yeah, I have fallen in love with that place. I go there a bit for tour gigs. And they got a little bit of a comedy scene. Probably your comedy career would die off if you move there because they're all like getting to a point then they do tally and then move abroad or whatever.
Right.
It's like a bit like the little industries we have in Australia where if you're not doing radio or TV in Australia, why are you doing comedy?
Yeah.
But the landscape, the people, the fresh air, it's like at the forefront of technology and green initiatives.
So dark though.
So dark though. I have a friend who's Icelandic and he's like, Sarah, you must think about the winter. You only ever come here in summer and spring. Why? You're not thinking. And I'm like, maybe you're right.
I love that can't possibly be racist because no one knows
Is she
what
from
they sound
Uxbridge?
like.
Shit.
Sarah?
Either Amsterdam or Chicago.
Amsterdam or Chicago?
Got it.
Chicago's good. I think
I
not
love
enough
it. I
people
love
say
the
Chicago.
Yeah, man.
Would
because
you do
it was not
improv
this-
if you went back there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I know some
Chicago's
people
dope.
there.
And so's Amsterdam. But yeah, great
Yeah.
choices. I'm with you on that. I'm sorry.
Sick.
I love the choices. She wins the choices. All right, Sarah Callaghan, where can people find you? Tell them about the album.
Oh yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at scallahan1. I have a launch happening on the 24th of November with my second book and my album, which is coming out. And I'm also doing a show next year at the Edinburgh Fringe called Edinburgh Fringe called Love You More. So more jokes, more poetry, more music. It's all to come. 2020 is going to be big, mate. 2020. Telling you.
Big 2020.
That's happening. It's all happening, mate.
I like it. That's a good plug.
Yeah,
That's a
thanks.
not self-conscious plug.
Oi, I don't give a fuck around here, mate.
Yeah, it's refreshing. I like it. I like sitting
Yeah.
next to it. Just the osmosis of Callaghan. Oh, it's good. Yep.
Right.
Your
Plug away, yeah.
It's your plug time.
Right, you can find me on Twitter. Generally is where I update gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
At Sarah Bennetto, double N. People always leave out the second N, double N, double T. I am just gigging around. I'm in Brighton a lot, London, whatever, up until Christmas. And then January, pretty much all of January, I'm going to be gigging in Melbourne and Sydney.
Are you back home?
Yeah, I am. See you there, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Can never get away from him.
Never.
So two things. If you're from Melbourne or Sydney, you want to come and see me, look me up, say hello. Also, if you want to book me, right.
Fuck, this is what I missed out.
this is a heavy plug.
You're on it,
Yeah, but a
you're
lot
on
of
it.
people from Sydney
This
and
is plugging
Melbourne
a future plug.
say to me, shit, if we'd known we would have booked you, but like that, our club's booked up for, whatever. This is your heads up.
This is a heads up. Officially.
Get on that now.
Bennetto's coming. Too many Sarahs.
Yeah, and book Sarah Callaghan
I can't
too.
believe
That's
I
it.
could've-
Please book me as
Yeah,
well.
book
I bet
Sarah's.
I could have just said fucking Sarah then and
Yeah.
not been wrong. Like,
Yeah,
there was
exactly.
no chance of being
Exactly.
wrong. Why?
Yeah, so, and always writing, always working, new things coming up, Edinburgh next year, all that.
Sarah's. The way we end the podcast is you say cheers, mate, at the same time. Do you want to be counted in or you got it?
What, in an Aussie accent?
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, you
Cheers,
fucking...
mate.
No, fuck, same time.
All right, come on then, count us in.
3, 2, 1.
Cheers, mate.
Fucking powerful. All right. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Thanks so much.
Bye, Muggles.
The Union Jackoff with Daniel Muggleton.